Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmidty, Swanee and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, how are we?
Wonderful.
Very well, thank you. Yes. You?
I'm pretty good. Yep, pretty good. We are doing it back to back. I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmidty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarkey. And together we are Trial
by Wine.
And the boys are in the
we've got that weird
again.
sunset thing. Yeah.
For our listeners who can't see it, at this particular time, the sun sets or behind the boys and they cast them into some kind of weird shadow, so they look like they're in witness protection.
Who was I last time with my voice? It's voice has been changed to protect the innocent.
The innocent, yeah. That's right.
My name's Echo Wang.
Far away in time. I can't get over it. Sorry. Echo? What are you drinking?
We're on Aldi's finest still.
It's still on the rose, right?
Delicious,
lovely.
Yes.
My first Coke Zero of the day.
Oh, excellent. I'm finishing the last of my Aperol Spritz from the last episode, and that makes me sound like I only had one, but I actually had two in the last episode. Whoa. And when I finished that, because I was working through that flat bottle of champagne, and so when I finished that, I'm moving on to, get ready for it.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Tonic
water.
Tonic water, yeah. With a
Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh,
no,
yum.
a dash of gin. James May's parsnip Asian gin thing.
Do we call it Echo Wang?
That navel one?
Echo Wang gin.
Echo Wang gin.
The navel strength one.
Same bottle that I've now had I'm still working through, and it's nearly a year since it was given to me because it's that strong. So it's just that you just need the tiniest amount of it just for flavour. Anyway. Right, so shall I tell you a story?
Please do.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, so this story is pretty gross. So for people who are easily upset by gross things...
See ya.
See you next
time.
Bye.
Yeah.
I've had this on my list of stories that it popped up ages ago. It's an old story, but there was a bit of a recent update in the last 12 months or so. So I thought it was a good time to tell it. It's really difficult to tell this story, though, not because it's gross, but because it's a Polish story. So most of the articles are in Polish, as one would expect. When you translate...
It's going to be very difficult to hear it then, too.
How's your Polish?
Non-existent. So when I translate these things through Google, etc., there's nuances that are lost. You know, when you're reading it, it's just not quite right. And some of it you think, I don't know if
is that what they meant?
Is that what they meant? Yeah. And so there's a bit of that in it. I have read numerous other people's interpretation of the events here, and I'm not convinced that the narrative that the media has put forward is correct on this. So I've done my best, but there was one resource that I could not get. Oh, there you go. You're back. The sun's come out. The sun has come out, and we can see
today.
That's right. So this one resource that I couldn't get my hands on in English, and I think that would have given me plethora of information, but I just couldn't get to it. So I've done my best.
That's all we can.
And I think
take it away.
I've
that
done
is all
better
we can
than
ask,
some others,
Swanee.
right? I think I've done better than some, and
I mean,
not as good as
obviously,
others. Yeah.
in life in general, I think that's fair to say.
Pretty much right. That's right. So
we're very proud of you, Caroline.
That's right.
I've done my best. It might not be that good sometimes, but I've done my best.
Oh, that's all we ask in this house is that you do your best.
Thank you.
The house of Trial by Wine.
That's
my
right.
sources for this story are medium.com, all that's interesting, and I think that's probably one of the two that I discovered it on. Wikipedia, Polish Wikipedia.
Is that a thing?
It is, yes. So
is it just Wikipedia but in Polish?
It is in Polish. You've got to translate it. www.pl.wikipedia. So that will give you that actually gave me a lot more information than the English version, which is interesting. I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to go www.noisepl, which is noiz.pl, PL being like the .com for Poland,
Yep.
Policia.pl, krakowpost.com, reddit.com, and I'm particularly using a Reddit thread from a person whose handle, I've told you I'm not good at citing Reddit, is Astra Roth in Silk.
Zeneca.
Astra Roth in Silk, and it was just part of the True Crime Reddit. Okay, as is often the case when we tell these stories, we have to consider when we get to the really disturbing bit. Do we pull the band off immediately to get it out of the way? Or, albeit, leaving a sting or severe nausea in its wake?
What are you saying, Schmidty? What are you going to do to us?
Yeah, which one?
Or do we build to the moment and eke it out?
She's going straight in.
No,
Straight in,
well, I am.
jugular.
I am, because I had that quandary on this case, and I've read it with, the backstories first,
Yep.
and then we get to the gross bit. But I thought I'll cut to the worst part of the story, because to linger too long over the details, I think, is also forgetting that, sadly, as with all of our cases, a person, a human being and a real person was the victim here. So the other thing I will note on this one is that I'm not 100% confident of what's fact and what has been accepted by the media as fact. And
just on that, have you seen Inventing Anna yet?
no, but I know of it, yeah.
So it's a show on Netflix, and every episode starts with, this is a true story apart from all of the bits that are made up. And I feel like that could be where this is going somewhere.
Yeah.
All the bits that are lost in translation.
Yeah, there's quite a lot that's fact. When we get to who's the perpetrator and the trials and all the rest of it, that's the questionable bit. Yep. Did I say all of this is fact? It's not all fact. Sorry.
No, I think you said it's hard to tell which bits are
It is.
fact. So,
the bits you made up are probably not fact.
I didn't make any of that. But I feel
But
like
Anna Delvey said that in Inventing Anna.
I have seen articles that have written as though it's a fact, and they've written, and then at the top you look and there's a little sentence at the top that says possible reconstruction of events. So they've written it like this is what happened, and it's not. It's what someone has thought could have happened.
Got it.
So there's a hypothesis of what could have happened, and that's our difficulty with this story. And it's really frustrating because you do want to know. This case took place in Poland in the late 90s, so 98, 99. And since then, I think certain parts have completely been considered true, and other things, there's just a lack of substantiating evidence. So let's get in the timey-wimey machine and head back to January 1999. Now, the actual crime takes place in November 1998. And I did have a little look at what was on the Euro charts at that period of time. And interestingly, the number one song for 1998 was Ricky Martin's Cup of Life.
Oh, was
If
it
you remember
Cup?
that?
On
World
the
Cup.
back end of World Cup.
Not his best.
No, his best. I would
No.
live the Vida Loca, right? In my opinion. Living the
Vida Loca.
The amount of dancing to that I did when I had hips.
Yeah.
I don't mind a bit of She Bangs either.
She bangs.
That's a banger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in 1999, it was, and I actually, it took me back to Foxtel days in Sydney with Deb Burks, and it was Mambo Number 5.
Oh, is that from
ladies and gentlemen. Was it really?
Yeah.
That was
For that
in the
year.
UK in 95, I reckon.
No.
Lou Bega.
No, wait, 99, because I was working for Deb Burks, and we in Foxtel, Swanee, as you will recall. I went up in 99, I think. And I remember being there and someone played that fucking song over and over and over again at some barbecue that she had going. Might have been year 2000 actually, but it was around that 99 period. Anyway, I did actually look this up. It was the Euro chart. Are you looking it up, Clarkie?
I'm convinced that was when I was in London. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I just got to find out.
Happy for you to fact check that, but I did look up the Euro 100 at the time. Anywho, on that fateful night, which was January 6th, 1999, a tugboat on the Vistula River
It was
Krakow,
released in April 1999.
There you have it.
There must be another
Okay.
one. I'm going to have to keep searching.
Sometimes,
Sorry.
this is why memory is not a reliable Memory's not reliable.
Yeah, but I reckon I had the Cassingle from
Yeah,
them.
but I have memories
which
like
is
that, and I turn out
weird.
I'm totally wrong all the time. And I think, oh, geez, no wonder they say, when people say, what were you doing on, Thursday, the 15th of January, 1996? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't even know what I was doing last week. I mean, how you expect people, unless a traumatic incident happened, to remember anything? And even then, the retelling of traumatic stories changes the way they think. Anyway, back to this story. So, on that fateful night, which was the 6th of January in 1999, a tugboat on the Vistula River in Krakow, Poland, ran into a bit of a difficulty. Something had wrapped around the propeller. Well, anyway, he ran out of power, right? And he thought, shit, there's something wrong. It's probably something wrapped around the prop. Being a boaty person myself, this isn't uncommon, particularly in a river with a current sweeping debris all the time, right? So I reckon this tugboat guy was like, oh, fuck, again. So instead of in the freezing cold, it's 6th of January, Poland, right? Cold.
Yeah, very
Instead
cold.
of going, I'm going to just at night time in the dark, dig out whatever that is, he left it to the next morning. And he floated into his dock because he wasn't far out. A bit like Eric when he lost steering with the houseboat, just floated her into the marina. Next morning, by the way, the Vistula, if you don't know it, is a very substantial river. It's smaller than the Danube, but it is the longest in Poland, and it's pretty wide like the Danube. So we're not talking about a creek. We're talking about a very large river used, like much bigger than the Yarra is what I'm saying. So big river. The captain decided to float it in rather than fuss about it. And next day, he and the crew had to get down to the prop and remove whatever had snagged on it. When they pulled the material that had snagged around the propeller up, they didn't kind of know what it was. It looked like some kind of material, like it was either some kind of sacking material or leather, and there was a bit of fabric with it as well. And it stank. It absolutely stank. But then again, you've just pulled something out of the river, and like probably lots of things that you pull out of the river stink. So that didn't necessarily give away to them immediately what they were looking at. Once they'd freed it from the prop and untangled it, though, they realised it wasn't a sack or leather, but a piece of human skin, largely due to the fact that there was an ear attached to it, and the ear had the hole from a piercing as well. In fact, what they had found was the torso skin of a woman, which had been precisely removed in one piece, from neck to groin, Silence of the Lambs style. And in our last episode, you made a reference to Silence of the Lambs.
Did it put the lotion on it?
Did it put the lotion on, or it'll get the hose? And I thought to myself, there'll be a lot of Silence of the Lambs episode references in the next episode. Yes. And interestingly, Silence of the Lambs was released in 1991. And when this happened, there were loads of parallels drawn around it because apparently Silence of the Lambs was premiered on Polish TV in 1998 before this happened. So there is a suggestion that this is some kind of bizarro copycat. Let's not forget that Ed Gein was one of the inspirations for the James Gumb character and features in our episode Crimes Against Craft. And that's episode 32 for anyone who hasn't gone that far back in our catalogue.
I think it's new, but I could be wrong. There's an Ed Gein thing coming to Netflix.
Charlie Hamlin. I talked about it in previous episodes.
All right.
It's been advertised a lot on Facebook, but yes, it's part of a series called Monster, I think, or about monsters. And they are doing another one that I covered. Oh, Whack-A-Mole, what's her face? Lizzie Borden.
Whack-A-Mole, what's her face?
Lizzie Borden, who I don't actually believe did it.
What's her face? Yeah, right.
I don't believe she did it. Anywho, they're getting someone to play Whack-A-Mole, Lizzie Borden. So once they realised that they were dealing with a piece of human skin, they called the police, obviously. They're like, cheapers.
Wise.
What they thought they had was a piece of skin that had come from like the boat or multiple boats damaging a body in the water.
Yeah.
So, but once the police got there and they had a look at it, they were like,
It's fucked up.
Straight edges.
This is fucked. Yeah. Straight edges, very carefully, and sewn back together as well to create a single piece. So they were like,
and we all know boats can't sew.
No. Now, at this point in time, the police in Poland had only seen one other case where someone had skinned someone, and actually it was a guy who, I can't remember what year it was earlier, so multiple years earlier, like 80-something, and he had killed his children and his wife and skinned them and dismembered them and been throwing their bodies in the Vistula River when he was caught, and he was put into an asylum. Now, interestingly, that same perpetrator, and I only read this in one source, had been paroled at the same time as this had all happened for failing health, because apparently when you're a psychopath, if you're not very well, we'll let you out of prison. That's the perfect time to do it. So just keep that in mind.
Quite a craftsperson, this person. They're handy.
Well, I know.
I don't think I couldn't do it.
Ed-Geenish, isn't it? No. Well, also, you've got to really be able to ignore your natural reaction to be revolted by everything. But if we're talking about a psychopath, we're not talking apples for apples in terms of how people respond to things. That person I just talked about had been paroled around this time, but they decided they didn't investigate him because, they thought he was too sick and old to have been the perpetrator. Anyway, they went around diving the river to find more of this poor victim, and they were able to recover a leg and one buttock.
Oh my God, how'd they find that in such a big river? That's remarkable.
They did extensive diving, though.
Okay.
Like it was, and they've gone back a few times to see if they can find more as well over the years.
Cadaver dogs?
Now, this is in the river. They had divers.
Yeah, but seals.
They don't have cadaver seals that I'm aware of.
In Poland.
Yeah, in Poland. Although, they did some interesting things.
I was going to say they need them, but I don't think they do because they're very good without them.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times that the Polish police used DNA to test on the remains to determine who they belonged to.
Yeah.
And they were able to work out that the 3 pieces of remains, the buttock, the leg, and the leg was cut from the knee down. And I'm not sure, because this is the problem like with the reporting, whether we're talking about a thigh to knee or we're talking about knees including foot or anything. I really don't know what it was.
I think we can move on.
No,
I think
it does matter.
Important.
It is important, and it is important.
At the moment, it's just mildly sickening.
I get that, but from a forensics perspective, it's important. Okay, so they did this DNA test. They worked out who it was, and unfortunately, it was the remains of a young 23-year-old student who'd gone missing in November the year before when Ricky Martin's Cup of Life was a big song, and her name was Katarzyna Zowada. I'll say it again. Katarzyna Zowada, who preferred to be called Kasia.
Thank God.
I know, right? So
Thank God she dropped the surname too, because that was even trickier.
Yeah.
Thank God she just got it. So I just go by
Kasia
Kasia.
Zowada. Now you laugh, but lots of people call her Zawada because that's a common Polish name, but her name was Zowada with an O. And I saw people correcting people, but I've double checked it, and it was Zowada.
Gosh.
Katarzyna, or Kasia, as she preferred to be called, was a quiet young woman who had been studying at the Jagiellonian University of Krakow. Yeah, and it's not spelled like that. I looked it up and I wrote a phonetic pronunciation for it. Kasia was described as kind-hearted and deeply reflective. She was quite an introvert, and she was suffering from grief and depression at the time of her death. 3 years prior to her murder, or death actually I should say, she had been on a hiking trip with her father. He had had a terrible fall, sustained a spinal injury, and subsequently died from an injury that was related to the spinal injury, which Kasia blamed herself for, as she'd been the one to suggest the hike, and her father was only in his 40s when this happened. But in the months prior to Kasia's death, she lost a lot of weight, dyed her hair, got into the Grateful Dead, and was truant from a lot of her university classes, although her mother didn't know that. And she was
a wagger.
More withdrawn than usual. That led the police to think when she was missing that she was seeing someone, that she found a boyfriend or there was something going on there.
Yeah.
But once they found her remains, the whole story pivoted to be about the remains and what happened there. So we've covered stories before where the police get a bit hooked on one angle and they don't look at multiple angles. She did apparently have a boyfriend, but he was alibied out and probably checked against DNA. They found DNA on the remains and they didn't find anyone who matched it. But I just think there was something going on in Kasha's life that no one's kind of shed any light on that might have some bearing on what actually happened to her. Anyway, she was working on managing her grief and she had regular psychotherapy sessions. And when she failed to attend one of these sessions on the 12th of November 1998, her mother immediately contacted the police. So she was supposed to meet her mother and did not. But the police were like, just hang on, because she's an adult and she's a uni student and she might just be fucking around. And so they dismissed her mother's concerns because, she wouldn't know her own daughter, would she? I don't know what the police response to Kasha's disappearance was, but her mother contacted a local sect of monks. I read it a couple of times and I forgot to take a note of it. They weren't Benedictines, but they were some monks. But they were instrumental in getting kids out of cults and sects. Sects. So it's 1999. There are a lot of kids getting involved in...
Gosh, I misheard that completely.
Not sects. Sects.
Yeah.
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 It's like cults, So
cults and other such things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So at the time, I read that there was a bit of a cultural thing happening where the youth were kind of getting into Satan.
Yeah, I can remember that.
It's sort of like a late satanic panic kind of thing, like it's sort of, we're getting all gothy and we're into the Grateful Dead.
The music and
yeah, the music and the scene and all that sort of stuff. And probably there's some drugs happening or whatever. And there were some crowds that were bad. And so the mum went to this church body who had been instrumental in extracting kids from these sort of nefarious places. And she also got a private detective on the case. So that suggests to me that the police were probably not particularly responsive. I can't find anything much on the search for Kasha, though, because once her remains were found, the whole thing changes, Far be it for me to suggest that if they'd looked for her immediately, she might not have ended up skinned and discarded in a river. But anyway, the nature of
Stay lovely.
Well, what I'm saying? She went missing 12th of November. Her remains are found on the 6th of January. An autopsy report suggests that she was in the river 2 to 3 weeks, which indicates that wherever she was gone for 2 weeks-ish. She was either held by someone, we don't know
Think
what
back
happened to her.
Last week's episode where it was instant action.
Yeah.
And Davine was
that
saved.
my story? Oh, no.
No,
sorry.
Last week being when we released
an hour ago. Yeah.
I was like, what?
When Crikey says last week, he means the release schedule.
An hour ago.
Got it.
You'd know about that, wouldn't you, Shay? Because I know you listen to them every week when I release them.
Still haven't listened to one.
I know. We don't take offence to that.
You can't take. I don't think I'd do it if I'd listened to it. That's why I don't.
We don't take offence. I don't listen to them either, apart from editing them. I don't listen after that. And it's weird. On occasion, I've been in someone's car and it's come on because they've been listening to it. That is weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
Okay. So the nature of the remains set the cat amongst the pigeons.
Oh.
The brutality, the violence and depravity of the murder, and I say murder because we were assuming it was a murder, was shocking to everyone, and it was huge news. There was a decent amount of pressure on the police as every young woman feared she'd be next, as you would. However, there didn't appear to be much evidence to point to who could have done such a macabre thing. But then, in May 1999, they got a call from a man, get ready for this, who said a murder had taken place in his house and that there was a body in his basement.
What?
So the police attend that scene, and
I'm assuming, was he saying that it wasn't him that did it?
It wasn't him that did it. He was an elderly man.
Right, okay.
As it turned out, his grandson, Vladimir, had murdered his father. So we've got 3 generations of boys and men in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, so I'm going to go Vlad Very Senior calls the police and says Vlad Jr. has done something bad. Turns out Vlad Jr. had decapitated his father and skinned his head and then sewed it up and wore it as a mask dressed in his father's clothes
What?
and pretended to be his father for pretty much an entire day in front of his elderly and nearly blind grandfather, Vlad Sr. Until Vlad
That's
Sr. kind of
fucked
cottoned on
up.
and
So
called the police.
was he trying to carry it off and like pretend that he was his dad in front
Yeah.
of the grandfather?
Yeah, he wore his dad's clothes and his dad's face.
Okay.
That's fucked up. That is one of the worst things I think I've ever heard.
It's pretty bad, isn't it?
That is...
And the
Come
thing-
on. He's murdered him, skinned his face off, wore it as a mask.
Yeah, you get one paragraph on this story in the context of the Kasha story.
God.
It's
No,
insane that
But
there's
is
not
that
enough-
the worst thing
there's
you've
not
ever
more.
heard? Like, it's got to be up there. Terrorizing the poor father of the bloke who he's just killed, decapitated,
Bad.
pulled the face off.
It's
But
bad. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Who
Because
would do that?
we haven't finished Kasha's story
There's-
yet.
oh shit.
Okay, but I haven't heard that bit yet.
That's right. So up until
So for
this
me,
moment, that's
quite
the worst thing
possibly
you've
it
ever
is.
heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
God.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, when the police got there, they found the victim's body hanging from the ceiling in the basement. And Vladimir was like, yeah, I did that. I was really pissed off with Dad because Dad divorced my mum and abandoned her and ran from Russia and ran off and brought me and, to live with my dad and my grandfather in Poland. And I was really angry with him for that.
Fair enough.
Reasonable,
Well,
yeah?
Yeah. I'm surprised more people aren't doing that. Maybe they will now they know about it.
Oh, it's a thing.
Vladimir also went to the
Vladimir
Yagalonian.
3.
Vladimir 3, junior,
V3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
went to the Yagalonian University as well, which is a pretty ancient.
What do
he
they
studying?
teach there?
Yeah.
Well, she was doing religious studies. I don't know what he was
Ooh.
learning, but he was a year before her. So we don't really think that they knew each other, but there's a possibility that they did, but we're not sure that he knew Kasha or not. Anyway, so because he never actually confessed to it, they didn't have any evidence that he actually did know Kasha. That's that on that. No, not him.
Not the
He
guy
ends
who.
up-
Hang
Not
on.
the guy whose
No.
face.
Yeah, no, not him, or we don't have any evidence, but he's high up on our list of suspects. Surely it wasn't a no, not him.
It was a bit of a no, not him, and he's not that high on our list of suspects. And then he goes to
Although-
jail for killing his father, and then he's extradited to Russia. And he says, "No, I never knew her. I didn't do that." And he confessed to his father. So yeah, face off is not a prime suspect.
Right.
Mm.
Shit. That's concerning if you're in.
That means there's more
Crack out.
whack jobs.
Yeah,
Fucking
exactly.
hell, I know, right? Oh, we've never seen this before. Are you sure? Okay, sorry, I moved my mouse to go back to understand how to pronounce Yagalonian. There we go.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong. That's right. Okay, so this is 99. Come 2000, the case, of course, gets closed because there's insufficient evidence. But then in 2012, the case is reopened again as technical. What?
I was just
I'm
waiting.
just...
Oh.
No, he
Oh.
was definitely about to go. What?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, because the case got closed because there was no evidence. Doesn't the case stay open? Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm...
No, you're quite right. It's cold. Let's say it went
Oh.
cold then.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I read it was
I
closed,
thought it was
but you're right. It was cold.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a Polish police thing where they go, "Oh, there's no evidence. We'll just close
done with
that,
that
and
one."
we're going to get into defective detectives."
Pop that on
Yeah.
the shelf. Well, interesting. Maybe, yeah, maybe closed and then deferred to another unit. Put it that way. So come 2012, though, they reopened the case because they're like, well, we've had technological advances in forensics and shit. And so that gave them the hope that new evidence could be found. And Kasha's remains, the skin, torso, skin, leg and buttock, were exhumed and they had actually been preserved on purpose
I was
before.
going to say, were they exhumed? I thought it would have been kept somewhere in a.
No, they gave them back to the
No.
mother, the
Okay.
parents, so that they could bury her. But
Oh.
she had been very carefully
Vacuum sealed.
Yeah. probably.
preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pieces, so
Cryovac.
just in case. Yeah. And so they come back, they exhume it, they examine it again, and that allows the investigators. Now, this is where I feel like fact and fiction are starting to meld together at this point in time.
Yeah, everything up to this point's been completely normal.
No, it's not
I know what you
normal,
mean.
but what's
Fucking
happening here
Vlad
is
3.
they then do,
Bit of creative license now.
based on her torso skin, they do
Yeah.
not have bones, they don't have internal organs, they don't have musculature, they've got skin. And there's no by the way, I don't want to get too fine a point, but there's no nipples,
But
no
here we
apparent
go.
reason. Or just so you can picture it, it's cut from the like on one side it's cut sort of down the side of the neck and then across, and then it's excised across the chest. There's no nipples. I think this is something I don't know how to skin a person, right? And then cut in the groin and the armpit, okay? But what I'm trying to say is there's only a small amount of a human body that we're working with here. But they create a 3D model
What
of
about
her
the leg and the
injuries.
bum?
One buttock,
Yeah.
one possibly
Partial
knee to-
leg.
Isn't there
Yeah.
a bone in that?
Yeah, but all I'm saying is it's not okay.
They
Listen to
recreate
me.
the whole.
They make a whole 3D model of her body, and they
Okay.
determine her injuries, including to internal organs, from a 3D model. How?
What's the problem?
How? How can you say? Now, you might say, Swanee, with your deep understanding of forensics, that
Yes.
posthumous bruising or posthumous bruising or, pre-mortem bruising
You were going to say that, weren't you?
I was going to
would
say the
might
pre-mortem.
indicate
Yeah, that
types
wasn't.
of
Yeah.
injuries that a person with, because the skin, right? The skin would give you some evidence of
Yes,
bruising, etc., which
yes.
give you some idea of what happened there.
Exactly.
Maybe. But I really do feel like this is a bit of a leap. I've got to say.
Schmidty, I've seen Jurassic Park where they grow dinosaurs from mosquito blood or something. From blood in
that's-
mosquitoes. Of course they can do that.
Just believe.
Okay. I feel like there's a leap here, but, I'm not a forensic scientist.
There is.
Whatever.
There, of course, is a massive leap. I couldn't agree more.
They conclude from this that a sharp instrument, probably a knife, was used to cut Kasha's neck, her armpit and her groin, and the hypothesis is that she then bled to death. But wait, there's more. It's also reported that she was skinned alive. But I don't think
What?
there's evidence to say when she was skinned. I mean, we know that the skin was removed from her torso, but did she bleed to death first? Did this all happen? So then someone says she was decapitated and dismembered, but the only parts of her that we found don't actually include her sternum, her neck or her head. So we don't know. What we do know is there's a bit of ear on the torso skin, which would assume if you cut her head off that you wouldn't have a bit of ear still connected to the torso skin. So this is what I meant about the narrative and the gruesome storytelling, right, that is overtaking the facts here. We don't know. I don't think we know what happened to this poor girl. We can't definitively say this happened and this happened and this happened. I would like to think that she was dead before any of those things happened to her body. We can, however, assume that some form of dismemberment happened because this bit of
She's
leg was found and a bit of.
I don't think we need to assume.
That's right. Okay. But posthumously, we can say posthumously.
Yeah.
The press has sort of created this like she's being taken apart while she's alive, right?
Yeah.
It gets worse though. Sorry, Swanee.
Oh.
All I'm trying to say is there's the series of truly disturbing and dreadful facts that have been added to a series of worse hypotheses to illustrate the matter, but we don't know any of it. We're just sort of surmising it's happened. But it's being reported like it did happen. Then this is where it gets worse. It's not really worse. This is all about the storytelling, Swanee, not the fact, right?
Okay. Yes.
So a European representative of the FBI provided some mindhunter shit, saying that the killer was sadistic, had some experience of dissection and anatomy, and was probably into some sort of martial arts, MMA,
Where did that bit come from? I could have given them the first bit without having to. I would have done it for free. I think most of us could have done that. I think that they're into
That's
the martial
why
arts bit though.
I'll tell you where it came from. Now, get this.
The martial arts element that interests me in this.
The team then consulted a United Nations expert in the field of signs of torture on the human body, who specializes in the signs of torture on a human body.
Tell us.
And the answer is Professor Duarte Nuno Vieira from Portugal, who reported that he believed that based on and he does his report like 2020 or something, right? Years after the fact, based on, what they've exhumed and taken photos of whatever, that the wounds on Kasha's remains, that she was likely tortured before her death and her killer was trained in some sort of martial arts. And he also says she was probably sexually assaulted. We don't know that.
You've got a buttock, a leg,
A bit of a
and a
leg,
bit of
not even a whole leg.
torso, and you work out that she's sexually assaulted.
I know, right? And also, this trained in some sort of martial arts. Now, I'm assuming the trained in martial arts was like smack, 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 the type of bruising from smacks or something. I don't know. It's a stretch.
It just sounds nonsense.
Skin stretcher.
He did say something along the lines about the wounds and the cuts, and there was apparently, but there's not much of the body to be determining what was cut, and you've skinned a whole piece of a person. It's cut to a degree, and then it's meticulously sewn together. So I've seen it. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. I've seen it. It's not covered in stab wounds or anything, so it's all weird. Anyway,
unreliable historians for sure.
Oh, there it is. Yes, and the coroner said that the remains had probably been in the river for 2 to 3 weeks. So at some point they're going to be having a bit of the old decomposition. Things aren't going to be going great. Someone had a theory that Katja had perhaps died by other means.
Is
her name Katja now? Like
it's
the high pressure journey?
Katja. Katja, yeah.
Okay.
Katja, that you don't remember that we worked with a Katja? Do you remember her? Katja? Did you work with Katja?
I know the name, yeah.
Same spelling.
I think I did.
That's why I'm saying it, because
no, but you went. It's because you paused partway through, so you went Katja.
It's because I'm doing a Swanee, right? I'm not actually following my notes.
Just call it any names.
Katarzyna.
That was a very, very, very sly dig there, Schmidty.
It wasn't. I love the way I'm so impressed that you do that. I'm not doing as good a job because it's not my format. It's not the way I do it. And I'm going, where am I? It wasn't a dig at all.
We do regularly discuss how good you are
Amazing
at doing that.
Well,
we have to read our stories
because my word for word, and I can't stay off.
And then where's that note? And I'll pull it all together. It's quite remarkable. I love it.
It's an extraordinary gift you have.
Oh, it is an extraordinary gift I have.
I am not even remotely taking the piss. Hats off to you, my friend. So, yes, someone theorises that Katja had perhaps died by other means and someone had mutilated her body. So, apparently, according to one source again, she had attempted to take her own life because of her depression, etc., prior to this happening. And there were, and I've read this on 2 or 3, not in any detail, but 2 or 3 sources, that there were stretch marks on the skin that were consistent with what you might experience.
Truth stretching, Swanee.
When you fall from a great height or you have a high-speed car chase. But again, I don't know. Maybe they're also there from having your skin removed.
Yeah, right? That might be it.
I don't know what creates the
type of happening. This is not what it was like when it was on for the muscle and bone and all the tissue. It seems a little, I don't know, stretched.
If you're like pulling it, I don't know, right? I don't know.
It's a little slack.
Well, think about this, though. Imagine the scenario where she actually ended her life.
Yeah.
And some fucking warped sicko
opportunistic
takes one look and goes, I just saw.
I've been waiting for this all my life.
My next jacket.
Yeah, I need myself a bodysuit made of that. I don't know, right? Because we don't have any evidence.
No.
Anyway, right? Okay, so as I was saying earlier, it's very frustrating. All the English sources are sanitized to one version, and I can't get content that I want translated into English. So Monica Gora is the investigative journalist who has written a book on this, and she doesn't think that they did a very good job at the investigation at all, but unfortunately I can only get that from English translated excerpts of her novel. I can't actually, not novel, her book. I can't get it. Anyway, the investigation. Now, here we go. Get ready for this.
Are we in 2012 still? After they've done the...
We're late. Yeah. We're sort of... We moved from 2012 to 2013. 17 and then 20 and then 24.
Okay.
So the cold case unit in Poland, in Krakow, is called the X-Files.
No.
I shit you not.
When were
And
they established?
well, they have named
Like
themselves after the X-Files.
early
It's in
90s,
Mulder
yeah.
Scully. Yep.
Yeah.
1999 they were established, as it turns out.
Oh,
And
wow.
they are apparently sent to Quantico, and they are trained by the FBI. And, yeah, life imitating art. They call themselves the X-Files. Although I've seen it also called Archive X, but I'm pretty sure the translation is X-Files.
Or just X.
And they codenamed this case Skora, which in English means skin.
Wow, they really...
I know. They're
God,
So-
really?
So tricky there.
Oh, so base.
So the X-Files keep investigating the crime, and they pull in more and more resources, including a clairvoyant at one point, to help them get enough evidence.
Against somebody in particular, or they just haven't got anything at this point?
Well, we've discounted the old man who got out of jail, even though he
Yep.
out of the asylum, even though he'd committed a similar crime,
Vlad
because he's not very
Jr.
well. Vlad Jr. He didn't say he did it, so he
No.
probably didn't do it. So we believe that. And whilst there was DNA on Kasha's body, they couldn't match it to anyone. They didn't have any suspects that they could match it to. But they did, Swanee, find microscopic plant material in later autopsies
Yep.
that, like the recent case that you did
In
about the Baden
Queensland,
Clays,
I
led
remember
them to
something.
be able to work out where Kasha had been prior to being
Didn't
put
remember
in
the
the
name,
river.
but you did.
The Baden Clays, yes. It turns out they had a suspect quite early on, interstage left, Robert Januszewski. Robert was a bit of a weirdo who the police had been aware of, and I've read it over and over again that there's no evidence that he was involved with Kasha, but two women apparently said they'd gone to a garden. In my mind, this is like an allotment, like a,
Yep.
and Kasha and Robert had also been there at some point. Robert had been in the army. He was into martial arts. He lived with his mother. He hated women, apparently, and he had molested someone on the street, a woman, and that's why they had him on their list. Oh, and also he'd worked in the mortuary in the army zoo, and he'd also worked at some point in some kind of zoological place or research place.
Did you say a mortuary in the army zoo?
Oh, he probably did.
You did.
I meant it worked in a mortuary in the army
didn't know.
too. Awesome.
I was going, what on earth?
The thing that
This is what
concerns
happens with a couple of
This is what
spritzes in an
concern-
episode before now and half a gin and tonic.
what concerns me is that I heard that at a zoo and I didn't question it. And I was like, oh, they must have animals that they use.
The army mortuary zoo. You know the
You know, like horses and dogs. That was what I was thinking. I wouldn't call it a zoo, but fair enough.
No, sorry. So apparently he worked at the mortuary in the army too, as in also. And then he had also worked at some other place where he was alleged to have been fired for killing all the rabbits. But I've also seen a quote from his boss at the time who said he didn't kill any of the rabbits. It sounded like some kind of research facility, and he had to handle these animals and he had to keep them alive, and he was pretty good at it. And when he left, a lot of the animals actually died because he wasn't there to care for them.
Oh,
And he
funny.
left because he was a bit of a rebel. He didn't like the rules or something. So differing accounts as to whether Robert Januszewski had actually killed all the bunnies. But if you read most articles, it says he killed all the rabbits. Yeah. So the problem I have with Robert as the suspect is the police basically tried to fit the evidence to him. And they had a profile from the FBI, and they're like, and profiles, that's why I refer to it as Mindhunter shit. Profiles are fine, but they're very generic. They point you in a general direction, but they don't say, oh, and he lives at 42 Smith
There's no
Street.
evidence.
And there's no evidence about it. It's just an idea that might help you narrow the field. But in narrowing the field, you could be subconsciously biased to not look at
Getting
other
other people out.
options. Yeah.
So didn't you say he did martial arts though?
I mean, that's it. Yeah.
I
he
mean,
did.
guilty.
Absolutely.
I still
That's
don't.
it.
I don't
Done.
get anything at all from martial arts in this story, other than
Well, because someone said
nonsense.
that maybe she'd been tortured, and the person who had done that must have had known something about, and it was a really dumb quote. It was like martial arts, but we won't specify the type. Unspecified martial arts.
Generic
So-
martial arts.
Wasn't even MMA. I don't know what it was. Yeah. Weird. So then what happens is the police in 2017 receive a letter from a person who's now deceased, but was a regular informant of the police.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know how he died.
Deceased today,
Now.
not by the time they received the letter. I was
Now in 2025, this
I'm very
person's
confused.
deceased.
Yes, gotcha. Sorry,
But at
that
the
was
time
me.
sent a letter and said, hey, check out Robert. I think he did it. And I don't know if that's what the letter said because it's not released anywhere. So you don't know what this letter said, and I don't know how it's evidence, but whatever. This guy, who it turned out to be an informant to the police, and Monica Gora, from what I've read, thinks that this guy could have been the killer himself. Of course, was never investigated. But
The letter writer.
The letter writer, yeah.
Yeah.
He was an old school friend of Robert's and was as dodgy as fuck from what I can tell. And she thinks he actually was just as capable and just as available to do the crime. This guy, often referred to as a school friend as Roberts, gave the police enough info in that secret letter to make them think, oh no, he totally did it. He done it. Absolutely. So the police have already searched Robert's place over the years and have found nothing to connect him. Go back in 2017 and apparently 2017, so we're talking, was it 18 years after her disappearance?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they find Kasha's DNA around the bath.
He needs a better cleaning lady.
18 years after the discovery.
He does need a
of her
cleaning
remains.
lady. Yes.
Awesome.
They tested her remains for DNA, right? They had the technology. It took them 18 years to find that. This has got Brendan Dassey vibes all over it. Anyway, so they arrest him based on that. And he goes to trial. You don't know who Brendan Dassey is.
Was it that first How to Make a Murderer or something?
He was
Making
the
a
nephew.
Murder.
Okay.
He was the nephew of Making a Murderer, Stephen Avery.
The TV program. Yeah.
Even Stephen Avery, they searched his property like a bazillion times, and then the incriminating evidence showed up like the bazillionth and oneth time, and it definitely wasn't there before. So, suggesting a bit of a fit up. That's what I'm implying here.
Oh.
So,
It's
the
very
police
brazen
arrest
of you to imply that.
is
First time for everything.
Yeah. The police don't just arrest him; they arrest him in a televised event on all the news channels. So they make sure that everyone knows that they're going to go get him.
We got our guy.
They get their guy, and the whole country sees it. Nothing biasing there. Nothing. Yeah,
Impartial
that's right.
jury. Yeah, God.
So, of course, the whole country have gone, yay, we got our weirdo, and yay, they've caught him. And then his mother actually apparently had to go into a shelter for 3 months because the public knew where they lived because they picked him up outside the house and televised it. There's this badly translated excerpt of her complaining that, well, she was really just saying, like, they didn't tell us anything. They just showed up. The next thing I know, he's being arrested. I'm being shunted off to some shelter. I had no clothes. I had nothing. They gave me clothes that didn't fit. And she made some reference to her bra, them giving her small bras, as in bras that were too small for her. And some other guy's going, what a liberty, she's bitching about small bra. I'm like, what the fuck? Honestly, like the point being, whether guilty or not, people had decided that he was guilty. Now, I'd like to point out that at the time that he's alleged to have taken Kasha, one of the things they say is that he took her to an allotment somewhere, not at his home, somewhere else, and killed her there. So why was there blood in her?
And then put her in the bath.
Where was his workshop?
I think in this allotment type place.
Oh.
He's supposed to have abducted her there, right? And tortured her and then cut her up and thrown her in the river. Also, his mother lived with him. I think she might have noticed him bringing a girl home and torturing her and killing her in the bathroom. 1 or 2 bedroom unit.
Surely skinning someone is actually quite challenging.
I would say it's quite hard. I mean,
so
I've seen people skin a rabbit.
Lift it off? I mean,
well, I mean,
I don't know what you're doing, I guess.
I think if you've got a hook, it's much easier. And the reason I say that isn't because I've done it before, but we killed some goats next door.
You people take the piss out of me.
Neighbour skinned the goats.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's
but
a little bit of
human skin works the
physicality
same
in it.
way. Do you think
Yeah,
human
it
skin works
does.
the same
Of
way?
course. Yeah, it would. Absolutely. Yeah. I think all animal skin would be connected in a similar way.
Is it because you've got that little layer underneath
Fascia.
Connective tissue that connects it to the muscle.
Connects it to the muscle, and so if you pull it down,
So if you get you can get a sharp knife and
yes,
whip through that. I've dissected animals before and done that.
I mean, I haven't dissected
but
animals.
he was doing it quickly with a fist. So he was punching between the muscle and the skin to separate it quickly rather than using a knife. So that was why it was quite physical.
And that's
but it happens
interesting
quick if you're good at what you're doing.
But it might indicate that you've had previous experience.
Seems like you need to be a butcher or something to know what you're doing here.
Well, that was one of the theories.
That
was one of the theories. The early theory was that the person who had done this could have been a butcher or a doctor or something. But possibly a butcher for that reason. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so the police find this evidence and they arrest him. He says, I didn't know her and I didn't kill her. But he had, and this is true, been seen visiting her grave after her death, which is suspicious. But he says...
That's very suspicious.
Well, he says, they kept coming to my house, they kept talking about her, which made me aware of her situation, and I felt terrible for her. So I visited her grave out of respect for this poor girl who's treated badly.
Too. That's an excellent response.
And it's plausible?
It is. I reckon it really is.
Yeah. He felt terrible about it. He also had converted to Christianity hard around that time. So if you've just decided to discover God and then suddenly someone's coming to your door and saying this girl, and you think, what a dreadful thing happened to that girl. I'm going to go pray for her. I'm going to pray over her grave. And Poland is a, Christian country. So I can see that really that is
Did he convert to God before she died or after?
They say after, but who knows, right? Because we didn't know anything about this man. Until then. He was a bit of a, look, I would say he's probably neurodivergent, 100%. Or not 100% neurodivergent, but I would say he was. Allegedly, he hated women because his wife had left him. But I say allegedly because there's no evidence, right? There's just these statements about things. His father, who was like a poet and a professor or something, like quite a prominent man, said no, he never did any of these things. But he did recall that he replaced all the tiles in his bathroom around the time of Kasha's disappearance. But also, why did they find...
bath.
Well, he's done the whole bathroom. But the question for me is, then why is there still blood there? And why didn't they test any of these things? Well, you'd be in there with your luminol straight away, wouldn't you? Right?
Why is there DNA on the bath if it's redone the bath?
Bath frame, which I'm going to assume is the timber frame under the bath. So
tile over it.
If you didn't have good sealant and blood seeped through.
And then you redid the bath and then they pulled...
I'm assuming they pulled it all out and they found this bit of DNA. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
Okay. It's a very thorough job.
Well, it was a very unthorough job earlier when they apparently searched his apartment multiple times. But luminol, they said they found it like not just in the bath frame, but they found it on the walls. You would have found it with a bit of luminol fucking years earlier, right? Anyway, so in their endless...
I guess that what I'm confused about is if they're finding it after he's done the bathroom.
They found it 18 years later.
Surely it's been planted after. Like it just doesn't seem like you would find
100%.
stuff on the wall in a
after
renovated
someone's
bathroom.
Replaced all the tiles in the grout. Correct. So I feel that there is something funny there. And speaking of that, they then, they're doing the whole interrogation. And in their endlessly long and badgering questioning sessions, they do the same thing they did with Brendan Dassey. They put it to him that this could have happened. They could put it to him that they get him to talk about the kind of scenario that could have happened. And then when he says, well, I suppose a person could have done this and they could have done that and they go, right, so you did that, right? And so they have taken that as documented as him having killed her and talking about the murder. Monica Gora, who I believe has seen the transcripts of these interviews, pretty much said he was led to say these things. He didn't know it for a fact, but they led him down this path. One article also said that he had details of the murder written into his diary. But again, this is where I feel like translation is open to interpretation. And if they really had that kind of evidence, then it would have been a slam dunk, right? So I do not believe that the evidence stacks the way that the media talks about it. Anyway, it goes to
Shocking.
trial. Yep. They say he lured her. This is this whole possible reenactment of what happened. He lured her to this garden/allotment. He beat her, tortured her over a series of days, probably raped her multiple times, skinned her, like cut her neck and skinned her while she bled to death as a sexual crime. And he was found guilty of this in 2022. He was found guilty of aggravated murder with particular cruelty, which is some kind of charge.
And I know you've said it, but I just want to double check in case I missed something. There's no evidence of any of that.
Well, we know that parts of Kasha showed up in the river. We don't know.
But so all the things he was charged with, the sexual nature of it all, the torture, there's no evidence of it.
This DNA evidence that showed up 18 years after the fact. And his position is, amazing new, this letter and then this DNA are the sort of things that lead us down to where we are. But it's very sketchy. It's very sketchy. So unsurprisingly, though, he appeals this conviction. And in 2024, I think the end of last year, it was overturned. Because guess what? The court found that there was insufficient evidence to convict him of this crime. That's right. As of now, this is an open and unsolved case.
Oh.
Though the X-Files, I think, are probably still convinced that Robert was a killer. And Monica Gora says it was Rob's old school friend. And some people suggest that she wasn't murdered at all and just someone mutilated her body. How's that?
Shocking.
So, yeah. Did they let a murderer out or did they fit the crime to the neighbourhood weirdo?
Well, almost neither in the end. Like,
I don't think they've got their guy.
It sounds
I'm not sure they have either.
I don't think they've got their crime.
He's not a
I
pleasant
agree.
individual, but I don't know that means that he did this. And it's such a sensational crime. That's the thing, right? That's what makes them desperate to want to solve it and pin it to someone.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's a speculatively sensational crime. Like
100%.
Parts of someone have turned up in the river, part of it sewn together.
Oh, the best bit. Well, sorry, not the best bit. Sorry. I'll rephrase that.
A bit.
One of the theories is that they wore her skin like a bodysuit. Her murderer.
Maybe on the back of Silence of the Lambs, but
this man who they think did this is a stocky, podgy,
not Jane Carn.
Not wanting to be rude, but talk about stretch marks. I mean, there's no way that you would have got a young 23-year-old's torso skin on this bloke to be worn as a body. Like, that man's going to have...
It's a bit tight. Oh, this feels awful. I thought it
was very uncomfortable. No, I got to throw it in the river.
Gosh, I put on some weight.
It's just...
That was hardly worth the effort. This looks shit on me. Oh, my God. I can't wear anything. I've got nothing to wear. This looks terrible.
But that could have given the stretch marks, him trying to stretch the bodysuit on.
I'm going to have to assume that the stretch marks you could tell forensically, like whether they were posthumous or prior.
Skin
I don't
is
know.
not something that I ever want to try on, really.
No.
It's not a sensation.
Not my father's head.
No, nothing. No, I'm not going. Look, and I'll be honest, I don't think it would be very flattering for me to have another skin over this. I just don't think it would work for me.
Your skin is
the
great.
one I've got already is not good enough. That's right. Why would I put another one
I feel like it would just show up more flaws. I'm not here for that.
Isn't it revolting?
Sounds ridiculous. Like,
I think he wore.
I think we need to go to Poland and sort this out.
Entirely influenced by the storyline of Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, of course. The whole lot seems to be, apart from the martial arts. That's the credible bit.
The martial arts.
Specialises in human torture.
Torture. And knows how to connect what somebody did for...
Yeah.
There was sewing involved. Am I wrong or am I right with that?
There was sewing involved. There was.
I want to know where the sewing happened. I need to know where this workshop was, or a little. You don't just walk around like knitting.
It was over his knee.
A bit of needlework.
It was hand sewing. It wasn't a machine.
A little bit of.
I don't believe it was machine sewing.
You said he lived with his mum.
Mm. You reckon he said,
There
could you
you
run this
go.
up for me, Mum?
Mum,
Get
this
the
doesn't
banana
quite
out.
fit. I just need to make it a bit bigger. Could you just
Show me, darling.
tailor it to suit me?
I could probably put a little bit extra in the side for you.
Exactly. Jane Gum does not get his mother to do his sewing.
He
for
does
him.
it himself. He's a man of many talents.
I can't see it. I cannot see. I just can't see, apart from being disgusting and revolting, a man who's like, you should see, like he's a real like barrel up the top. There's no way that a young woman's torso would fit on him.
I could see somebody doing a bit of a copycat thing, having seen
Yes, I
Hannibal.
can too.
Not necessarily all of the things they said with the torture and the sexual abuse and all of that sort of thing, but I could see that possibly someone's done that to try to wear it and then gone, God, I was never good at sewing. I was never good at sewing nor fashion. This is going in the bin, aka the river. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Mind you, I mean, it's the mindset of a psychopath, right? So even if you came across a person who had, well, you've just found a dead body, right? Oh, look, a dead body. My first instinct wouldn't be, I'm going to skin that. It's going to be grouse and dismember it and throw bits of it. And that we didn't find lots like most of the rest of it, but that wouldn't be my first instinct, right? But maybe it was someone's first instinct. Maybe someone was like, I just saw that film. I've been hanging to do that. I didn't really want
dying
to
do that, so
well,
to speak.
I didn't want to kill anyone, but look at what fate has brought me. So that's one of the theories, is that that's what happened. There's another theory that multiple people were involved in this, and that whoever killed her wasn't the same person as who skinned her, etc. So, but there's no evidence for any of that.
All the theories I can understand, right? If you're trying to solve a crime, you want to have a whole lot of theories as to what might have happened. But it sounds like they've cherry-picked some of those theories to work out what to charge someone with.
Yep.
With no evidence of it.
And I do find the implication of the old school friend who dobs him in is interesting. I think that person has died from natural causes subsequently, but there's something there. And it was really frustrating for me, because you know what I'm like. Once I get my teeth into one of these, I really want to go. I want to get more out of it than other people have got out of it. I want to find the thing that other people didn't find, and I reckon there's something in that. And one day I might get an English translated version of Monica Gora's book, which, by the way, is called Skora, i.e. skin. Mm-hmm.
We know one Polish word now.
Skora, yeah. Find out what she thinks. Oh, she got some shit reviews on Amazon, but she also got some really good reviews on Amazon. There was one guy who was just like, this is a pile of old shit. But most of the other people thought this was quite a good read. So it kind of does interest me to find out what she thinks. But then I'm worried that she's a Polish Debbie Marshall.
Yes, Swanee, you don't want that.
So I'm not sure Robert did it, but I do think that the X-Files need to, from what I read, the prosecution and the lead investigator have doggedly pursued a means to get him behind, to say it's him. And I just think there's always a danger in that, of closing your mind to other options as to who could have done something and what could have really happened. The truth is out there. And I think Mulder and Scully might say, open your mind up a bit.
Aliens.
I'm not happy. I just think
don't
this
like
is a waste.
Unsolved one.
I know what happened?
We just don't know.
We just don't know.
It's so gross and so wrong.
It's
that
so
we want to
fucked
find
up.
the perpetrator.
Yes, yeah.
It could have been someone trying to create a Frankenstein.
Well, I wonder actually if that man who was allegedly too sick when he got out of jail at exactly the same time as she died couldn't have been the perpetrator. Jan someone or other, who was, I told you they immediately said, oh no, he's too old and frail. But what if he wasn't that old and frail?
What if he's just acting it? Yeah.
Because I find it hard to believe that someone would commit a murder and a crime like that and not do it more than once.
Yeah.
And I read someone say that the person could have not got the outcome they were looking for. So why would you only
yeah.
do it once,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
if you're a psychopath and you're going, oh,
I
I'm
need a
gonna
skin suit.
I need a skin suit, I'm gonna do this. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I picked the wrong girl. She's too skinny. Skin suit didn't fit me. I'm not gonna do that again. Versus I'm gonna
I'll
get
find
a
someone who's
fat
better,
girl
yeah.
and I'll say she puts the lotion on or else she gets the hose again. So there's a question about why they wouldn't repeat offend when they're in that level of, for me, there's a question about why there wasn't a repeat offense, which leads you to say, well, did the guy who took his dad's face off actually have something to do with it? Or the other guy who had already done this and might have been repeat offending and then died, I think. It just beggars belief that someone does something as gratuitous as that and then doesn't do it again. Or escalate
or
further.
hasn't done things before. It's all very speculative.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I don't even know. I think I said before. I don't even know that they've got the right crime. Like it just they've got bits of a body and are trying to build a crime out of that. It sounds
the
like they're trying to
3D
write their
model.
own episode of the X-Files.
The 3D model. Seriously?
What? Oh no. Are you for real, bro?
So no one to sentence, just a PSA of keep your mind open and
I think the X-Files need to be sentenced. Because I think they're
because
I think
policing unit, not the
They're
TV
more
show.
caught up in their cutesy name than the actual work.
Well,
they're
I
supposed to
think
be
they're
doing.
more caught up in the theory or the storyline and the drama and all of that.
Yeah, I
more
think
so than the actual facts. Stop with all of that. Just because I liked the X-Files too. I get it, but you're actually there not trying to make exciting stories for people to sink their teeth into. You're trying to find facts that relate to the crime and solve it from there. Yeah, I think they've straight up given themselves a bad reputation by going with the X-Files.
Yeah, I think they need a rebrand for sure.
I mean, no one watches X-Files anymore.
I would. The X-Files. I loved it. But the one that...
it would be ridiculous now, I think. I think it was of its time. I think so.
I don't know. I've watched a bit of Supernatural as well, which is a similar time period. That's still okay. Okay. We'll have to suss that out at another time.
Yes.
All right. Swanee, you got anything to say?
In some way, I'm relieved because I thought that we were going to have to listen to sort of a testimony of someone who had done this and why they did it and all the rest, which would have been just, I don't know, hard to, stomach. So from a personal point of view, I'm slightly relieved that we didn't have to hear that. But it is, I certainly feel frustrated in the sense that nothing's been answered really, for me anyway.
No, and for Katarzyna's family.
Oh, God. And it's a long time ago now, right? Yeah.
It is. But their beautiful daughter, like she'd lost the mother, she'd lost her husband, and now she's lost her daughter. Like it's tragic terrible. And horrific, yeah.
But like, I mean, this is this thing, like, there are ways to go. This ain't one of them. This is not the one that you want to be thinking of for your loved one going, oh, well, maybe she took her own. Oh, but then she was, chopped mutilated. Up. Yeah. It's horrendous.
That's horrendous, but almost... I hate to say, but the idea that she died by some means, whether it was accidental or otherwise, before
would be a positive.
I actually would like to hang on to that if I was in that situation, because the way they posit it is that she just suffered, and I would much prefer she didn't. Yeah, I told you it was a rough one. I warned you.
You did.
Yeah. So that is the story of Skora. Skin. Code name. Get a new bloody code name. Like, try harder.
I think that's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah,
it just sounds like they were all hung up on Silence of the Lambs.
They were hung up on the sensationalist evidence that they did have, and they weren't thinking about the individual. Yeah. All right. Well, sorry about that, but thanks for joining me on that story. And that's another one I can take.
What a find! How'd you find it?
I'm sure it was on like All That's Interesting or Medium or one of those years ago. But then I felt like there wasn't enough to it. It was only because the appeal had gone through and he'd been not exonerated, acquitted, that I thought, okay, that's kind of closed now. I think I'll talk about it. Yeah.
Schmidty, the other thing I think we should call out is the it's not a good strategy for people who are trying to get to the truth of something to arrest someone on a national TV show so that
I know.
everyone is biased to.
I
Like,
feel like
what?
what they did was they basically told the reporters, we're on our way to get him now. And so it wasn't a national TV show, but it was like, interestingly, Channel 10, everyone was there for the report,
Which
for the thing.
gives the poor bloke no anonymity and
And
no
his
way
mother
to
too, yeah.
get a
It's-
fair trial.
Yeah. And look, Monica Gore's version of it is very sympathetic to the Jenczewski family. But then again, if she has gone down the path of looking at the actual evidence, then I can understand why. And I can also understand the other side of it where everyone wanted that case solved. You want to know who did
Of
that
course.
because you want to know they're not living next door to you.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I get it, but also that's the responsibility. What's the Peter Parker? With great power comes great responsibility. That's the point of policing. You've
And
got to do it
don't
right.
inflame that by making up stuff about what happened either, because
Because if you are
that's
wrong,
only going to make
a
everyone
psycho
worse.
is still wandering around too.
But also, if there's no evidence of the sexual assault or any of that kind of thing,
It's worse for the family
you're
too.
making it well for the family, but also for all the people who, if you haven't found someone, they're all going to think there's somebody out there who is going around sexually assaulting people, killing them,
Yep.
chopping them up, making suits and wearing them, when they might not be doing 50% of that.
As I said at the
God.
beginning, do you pull off the Band-Aid and make you have a bit of a sting or nausea?
Yes.
This was a nauseating
Yeah,
story, I know.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, on that note,
Ooh.
as we say every week, I miss you already.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.